we discussed last week that you could put letters together. There's no issa, for example, of taking Scrabble pieces and writing a note. If you want to write a note to your wife on Shabbos, and you take Scrabble pieces and you write together, "Have a nice day," there's no issa, according to most poskim, because you're taking pre-existing letters and you're just putting them together, and you're not sticking them together, they're not attached together in any way, they're just loosely sitting on the table. We said there's no issa. So someone asked, what about magnets? Is magnets a problem? So actually, I wasn't sure if magnets are a problem. I took a saw from Shlomo Miller. He brings down here a shiloh about magnets, and he says that he holds that since it's a loose thing which could just be knocked off, it's also not considered attached, and it would be mutter.
And Scrabble.
So he seems to say, I didn't hear it from him, so I wouldn't rely on it straight away, but so that's what I see he brings down here.
And Scrabble, because I think some of the Scrabble boards are more recessed.
So we brought that in a machlokes if it's recessed. If it's not recessed, it's not a problem. If it's recessed, we brought a shiloh as a machlokes, if that's going to start being put on something else. So that's how we saw last week. Okay. This week I'd like to discuss, first discuss one more thing in Kaisiv, and then we'll get to Moichik, which we did a lot of Moichik already, because about racing the words on the cake and all that stuff we did. The wrappers that have words on it, we discussed all that. But nonetheless, there's a few other points which are left out still. So the first thing is, by Kaisiv is Ksiva HaMiskayemes. We said the halacha in Shabbos is Dairaisa, it has to be a Ksiva that remains. A Ksiva that doesn't remain is not Chayiv on Shabbos. So what's considered ksiva that remains? This is a mavucha in the achrein, and we're not going to get into it, but it's a big machlokes exactly how much it has to remain in order to consider ksiva miskayemes. If it stays for a very long time, it could stay for a short period of time, it could just stay for that Shabbos. Halacha l'maisa, we're very machmir that anything that stays around for any period of time could be considered malacha d'oraisa, and we so the difference between the rice and rabbanon, if you can, shvus to shvus, if you can have a guy and different things, to be matir sometimes, and all kinds of issues. So we consider any ksiva that'll stay around for any period of time could be a malacha d'oraisa. A ksiva that's not miskayim is also midrabbanon, and many examples of that are, you go out to the car window on the frost of the car and you write something on the windshield. That's a ksiva that's eina miskayemes, which is osur midrabbanon. Any that kind of thing is osur midrabbanon.
Why only drabanon? I mean, it's something that's not going away. It's going to stay there. Could stay there for days.
Yeah, it goes away as soon as
as soon as it melts.
As soon as it melts, yeah,
but
it goes away.
If it's winter, it could be there.
It's not something which is under the sky at all.
It's not like writing on a paper.
Yeah.
Well, like straveling on the sand, is that the right or the rabban?
Who?
On
the
sand. On the floor.
On the sand. The chayv, it's also the rabbanon. That's not considered under the sky. Now, to take, I just wanted to mention also, to take, let's say, Cheerios and to make a letter out of it, that's also, technically it could be a deraisa even. It could be even deraisa, because even though we said taking parts of a letter and putting it together might not be an issue, but this is not parts of a letter, these are Cheerios. If you have a letter that's pre-existing and it was cut up to pieces and it's like a puzzle and you put it together, that might be parts of a letter. The pre-existing parts of a letter that you're putting together. We said on the side of the book, we said that's not us with the rice, that might not be us at all. But taking things which have nothing to do with letters and making a letter out of it, that could be a deraisa. It possibly could be a deraisa. So you're making a letter. That could be a deraisa that could stay around until someone comes along and decides to kick it away. Maybe you could argue if you put it in a place where it's not going to last. Yeshlon, I'll call that. To write on they have all these pads that the kids have that erase. They erase themselves.
Right.
So if it's something which stays until someone erases it, it could be a deraisa. If it's something which goes away by itself over time, it's possible it's a drabanan. Either way, these things are usher midrabanan, even if it stays for a very short amount of time. That's all considered a drabanan.
Is the Rosh Hashanah going to talk about computer screens?
Yes, so computer screen, I'm going to talk about that right now, yeah. So now, just before that, to make let's say in the shade, to make like a sign, there's a shade, you see my hand in the shade, so to make like a letter, an O or an R, in the shade, that's not an Isra at all, that's not Ksiva. That's just making optics, that's not considered Ksiva. So those that want to argue that you have these invisible letters that you have to see with the infrared thing, maybe that's not called Ksiva, it's a little bit schwer. You're writing something, you can only read it, but the infrared, to shine the infrared on it, the question would be if it's already written, and I shine it on it, and now I can read the letter, is that an Isra? Pashtus, you're just showing something that's pre-existent, or maybe I'm bringing out, through making the colors, I'm bringing out the letter. There's a shaila, if that's called a ksiva, or not called a ksiva.
But the actual writing would be a problem.
Actual writing, pashas, would be a problem. Yeah.
So what about these things in Sherry Tzedek, the invisible ink and all the rest of that stuff?
What do they do there?
They have
the kids.
They write notes, and then it disappears, and you have to do something to it to make it show up.
Right, so Charles making it show up, is that it is?
No, but the problem is writing in the first place.
It's also a problem.
Okay.
Could be a problem of Makar Patish also. See. So this comes into the question of computer. So there's two issues. There's computers. So computer writing is a big machlokes in the Poskim. You'd actually write on a computer if that's called Ksiva Midairaisa. If you write an article on the computer. Okay? So there's two issues you're doing there. First of all, you're putting it into the computer. You put it into the disk. Maybe you're putting it in. And the second issue is coming out on the screen. Coming out on the screen. So, coming out on the screen, there are those that want to say that it could be a malacha d'oraisa of writing letters on the screen, and until you turn off the screen or erase it, it remains. So that could be a issa d'oraisa. There are those that want to say it's not writing at all. It's just optics. It's like making a picture in the shade. It's just lights that are showing up, the digital lights that are showing up on the screen, and it's not considered a letter at all. Well, holds like that. B'Shalom Zalman, Orbach holds not Issa D'Oraisa. The others that hold it's Issa D'Oraisa. It's a big machlokes how you view computer writing. If that's an Issa D'Oraisa. Now, if you print it on a paper, that's for sure Issa D'Oraisa. Something to discuss.
What is this example you're talking about? Is using
you write on a computer. You take a computer and you type on Shabbos, and the lights come up on the screen.
There's another issue altogether.
So there are a lot of other issues that could be involved over here. Besides writing. But we're talking specifically writing. Is there an issue of writing? Every malacha you have to look at by itself to see what you're doing.
To be more discreet with that, there are, for instance, they have these tablets. You can write on it, so that might be a better example. To rule out, to not speak about the other.
You still have the others. However you go about the writing, you have a so writing, a shal of writing is a big machlokes. It's a big machlokes.
You also have these,
if that's called writing by writing computer. Could be it's not called writing. Might not be. Anyway, so there's other isurim. You have electricity issues. Question that's deraisa. You have issues of makar patish. It could be you're setting something up on a computer, setting up an article that remains there. So maybe it's a problem. Makar patish. There could be other isurim that are involved in writing a computer. Nobody's going to be matter. They're allowed to write on a computer on Shabbos. But the question is it is a rise of ksiva? Now you could ask a question. It could be negay maybe chalamoid. Are you allowed to write? You're allowed to send the email on chalamoid. Is it a real ksiva? That's a melechas uman. That's maybe also on chalamoid. That will be a shayla. In other words, on Shabbos nobody's going to be matter it anyways. But maybe on chalamoid.
It would seem that this is an important question to answer, not for Shabbos, for Chol, because if it is writing, no, not Chol, just during the week. Because if it is writing and you have holy words, if you've got a sitter in your phone and you go to the bathroom, so the question is,
it's very good. Right, that's another issue. I let erase it. Shem Hashem on your computer can erase it. If you're writing, it's mechika, it's ksiva.
Not even erasing. Can you walk?
Some people that I'm not when I was getting my tefillin. When I was getting my tefillin, so I wanted to see a copy of the tefillin, so they send you in a computer. So there are those that are makbid not to take a picture of the Shem Hashem to send it, so it shouldn't end up on your computer. And then you're going to erase it. A lot of people are makel on this. It's not considered writing. It's not considered. It goes away by itself. It's not. Turn off the computer. It goes away. It's not considered mechika. These are issues. Do we consider the ksav? That's correct. What we say. Do we consider the ksav that you're erasing it when you shav two shavs? There's ksiva that is mechika when I erase it. So is it considered ksav?
Well, are you saying erasing like turning it off?
Turning it off or delete, delete to take out the backspace, get rid of those letters. Is that considered mechika? Do I have mechikas Hashem? I'm erasing it.
But I would imagine it's a minority opinion because not all the modern printers will not be able to produce all the ArtScroll and Belheim and Corn because that's all through computer.
It's all computers, and you have the Shem Hashem there. You're going to run into problems.
The fonts?
Yeah.
No,
This is a shaila. I'm not going to be machriya. Though the oilam is making on the computers when it comes to these things, but this is a shaila. What I'm going to talk about here more is a shaila. You have video cameras. You come to shul Shabbos morning, they're taking a picture of you. A few places here in the shul there's video cameras, and you walk by, and they get your picture, and the security gets a picture of you.
Those are on?
Those are on. They're on. They're on 24/7. They're on Shabbos. They're on. So this is a big shaila. What?
If you have to smile.
Smile, yeah.
That's the answer.
So the question is, here you're not. You see, in all the cases we're talking about till now, you're actually typing into the computer. You're doing something. That avada, whether it's asab deraisa ksiva, whether it's not, the other isurim you can't do it. Here, what am I doing? I'm walking by the camera and it's taking a picture of me. Now, picture is also ksiva. You're writing a picture. So that isurim could also be considered writing, right? It's writing. So the question is, am I doing anything? I'm walking by, and my picture goes up on the screen. Is there any issa for me to walk by this thing?
One says it's psik.
So it's a psik. I walk by, it's going to happen. So it should be awesome.
Also says it's leinichalei.
It's leinichalei. Maybe.
I mean, I couldn't care less if the thing takes my picture or not.
Yeah. Right. You'd rather they didn't. They'd probably rather you didn't take your picture. Especially if you're stealing something. You'd rather you didn't have your picture on there. So the question is it deraisa or it's a drabanan? If it's a deraisa, so then you have a shaila of a psikration, leinichalei machlekes mishaynim, if it's mutter or not. If it's a drabanan, so then it's more easy to be makel of psikration, leinichalei. You don't care about. It could be it's b'chlal. It's not called a meleches machshavas at all. See, b'chlal not even couldn't care less. I don't even notice a video camera. I mean, it's not even what I'm doing. I'm just walking down the street, like we discussed once. I walk down the street and the light turns on. The sensor turns on the light. If I want the light, it's a problem. If I don't want the light, I'm not even doing something which is I'm minding my own business. I'm walking down the street, the light goes on. So here's the same thing. I'm walking down, I'm minding my own business, and they're taking pictures of me. I have to worry about everybody in the world taking pictures of me. It's not my business, not my doing. It's just b'chlal about meleches machshavas, and there's a big svara to that. But so there's different svaras here. There are some that hold, like we said before, this is not considered ksiva deraisa. And here it's for sure not, because it doesn't even stay. In other words, it stays for a certain amount of times and it goes away by itself. It doesn't stay forever, these pictures usually. They just keeps on changing. The picture on the screen, it keeps on changing. And even the saving, they could pull it out for 24 hours
You're talking about security pictures.
Security pictures.
Cameras.
They're recording them.
Yeah.
Well, they are recorded. That's the point.
They erase all the time.
No, they're not erased, because they're obviously recording it for playback later on.
Later on, but after them, we had it once here when they stole the stuff. After a certain amount of time.
Certain amount of time. Yeah, it's only good for a few days.
Yeah.
Then it recycles.
Site. You write something, it's going to stay around for 3 days.
Could be. So the recording is not really a ksiva. Recording could be an ismakabeh patish.
Okay.
In other words, if I make a tape or I make a video and I record something, that records on the disc or whatever it records on, that's not a ksiva.
Right.
I'm not writing on the disc. There's little squiggles or whatever goes in there. But I'm not writing on the disc. That's ismakabeh patish. I'm creating a disc. So makabeh patish is a bigger svar to be makel on something which I'm not mischaven for at all. It's not called makabeh patish. I have no care for it. That's what the price can say. So it's Makabeh Patish. There's a svara that a Makabeh Patish that I'm trying to finish off a kli. I have no interest in finishing off a kli. It doesn't go into the malacha of Makabeh Patish at all. That's really what it is. When you're making a recording, it's Makabeh Patish.
But like, if there's a group of people entering, each one gets a picture taken and it's written, so you are not the last one. Like, if it's taking pictures automatically.
Not the last one, right. So you can stop Makabeh Patish because I'm not the last one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Each one itself is recorded.
It's complete.
Yeah, each one itself is complete. So there's an issue of Makabeh Patish when it comes to recording. Recording is Makabeh Patish. Ksiva is just a picture that's showing on the screen. So the picture that's showing on the screen is moving. It's changing. It's not.
So when the screen refreshes, just times a second.
Yeah.
It's actually going on and off times a second.
Yeah.
That's true. It's being erased.
So there's one svara that it's not a ksiva deraisa. There are those that want to say that it's not even ksiva at all. It's more similar to making a shadow of a picture. I mean, not the person maybe that's taking the picture, but the person that's walking by. All he's doing is it's like he's walking by a mirror, and his picture shows in the mirror. That's not considered he did it. If I walk by a mirror and I have my picture in the mirror, that's not called I did a ksiva. I made a picture. It's not called a picture. So they want to say the same thing here. If I walk by, my picture shows on the screen. That's not a malacha of ksiva. There's those that want to say that.
Is it better to avoid it though?
That's if he's smart, but there are those that want to say that. Rabbi Yashiv says that standing, it's not derech ksiva, it's not ksiva. Even if you hold that writing on the screen is ksiva deraisa, but it's not derech ksiva. I'm walking by, it's not derech ksiva, so it's definitely not a deraisa. And therefore, they all matter because I have no interest in having it on the screen and all that. But there is a big nafkamina in all this. Let's say I want to go to a building. I go to a building, and I need to get in. So I knock on the door. You can buzz yourself in, but Shabbos you can't press the buzzer. So you stand there, and then they have a video camera, and the security guy sees your picture there and says, "Oh, there's a guy that wants to come in." So he buzzes you in. So here you want him to see your picture.
Right.
You don't want to sit there until Mashiach comes. So you're standing there, and you want him to see a picture, and then he lets you in. So there you're nichalei for him to take your picture to go in. So the question is, are you allowed to stand there?
Wow.
So according to all these svaras that really you're doing in this, and they were just materis because so here you wouldn't have that heter, and you wouldn't be allowed to do it. According to those that say that it's not a malach at all, it's like standing in front of a mirror, then you'd be allowed to do it. But Tzal Stern holds like that.
So let's say you're at a Shabbaton at a hotel. And there's a camera by the front desk on the right side.
He brings Moshe Sternbach is also makel on this. Tzela Chochma, Stern, and Moshe Sternbach is matir for this reason to stand by the door and let them open it because it's not considered a malach at all. The Yashiv holds that it's better not to. He holds only the Rabbanans, but because of Machshavas and Sekresh Nicholai, you can do it. But if you actually want it, that would be a problem.
And what if you're playing it something so you have to arrange what? For a standard door or
knock on the door until someone answers. So let's try to stay out of the video,
So given this machlokes, if you could avoid a camera, should you?
Better. But no, if you don't care about it, you're just walking by, it's not such an issue.
I gave the example, you're at the front desk of the hotel during Shabbos or Yontif. Right. And you want to ask someone the time or something, I don't know.
Right.
And there's a camera on the right-hand side of the front desk and not one on the left.
I don't know if you have to make yourself sure. You got mechavan for it, you don't care about it, it's finished. There's a chasayimach on that for this.
So if you don't care about it, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah. So that's when it comes to that. What?
You walk in front of a camera, you're doing absolutely nothing.
Right, I'm just walking in front of it. I'm putting myself in front of the picture.
The camera is going already.
Right.
I know, but
So your being there has
no,
nothing to
he's
do.
saying like this. It's going to take a picture of the brick wall, or it'll take a picture of me. Who cares what it's taking a picture?
It's still a situation. It's going to take your picture.
No.
But it's taking a picture anyways.
I understand.
The question is what's going to come out on the picture.
No, but then you...
I hold this is a very strong svara.
No, but the
it's a
New
very
York
strong story.
camera.
The picture it's taking anyways. The question is, how's the picture going to look? Like a face, or it's going to look like a brick wall?
What difference
No,
does
no.
it make? The camera's going.
Yeah.
No, but the new cameras have movement sensors, so they are off, and as soon as they sense movement, they
Yeah,
trigger
so
a
I
picture.
some that are like that. Yeah, that they pick up people when it comes by. Yeah, but that is a good svara. That's taking a picture anyways, and it just happens to be me that's in the picture now.
Hang on a second.
What?
Let's say you're giving a shir on Shabbos, and somebody sets up this camera. A guy comes in and sets up the camera. Can you give your shir in front of the camera?
It's picking up anyways the noise and the pictures and everything, same thing. But there I'm mechaven that with my
Right.
voice, I'm mechaven my picture, I'm mechaven that it should end up
Yeah.
on the screen. Question of makbin patish, I'm mechaven for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a good question. As far as so that's the halacha mice when it comes to the video screens. That Mikra did, you don't have to worry about it. If you're doing it lechatchila that your picture should be in there, then you have a big machlokes here.
But
Whether
there
that's
are
allowed.
opinions that hold when you do walk in front of the camera and it picks up your picture, and there's a problem.
Everybody holds it's mutter because it's you know the machshava for it. It's a machshavas. You're not doing the derech ksiva. There are haterim because you're not mechaven.
But there are people who hold that it's not. That's us.
Is there anyone who holds straight out? It's us. I don't know. If you hold it to Raisa, even Rabbi Yashiva holds that as a mocha the Raisa ksiva, but he holds it's not a normal way of writing, so therefore he holds it's mutter. Yeah. As far as your question, that still needs to build out some machlokes if you could the ksiva on the computer screen could be erased. There was makel on it, but the shaila. Now, there's another shaila that comes out with this ksiva sheidim kayemes, a very famous shaila. You have things that the famous sunglasses shaila, more for tzeveya. You have sunglasses that the sun become dark.
Oh, it changes.
Changes. So that's shaila tzeveya. We're going to learn more about tzeveya. It's coming up next, but it's relevant for ksiva also.
What's that?
Tzeveya is colors. You know, you're walking outside and your sunglasses become tinted. Or you have these kids have these cereal bowls that you pour in cold water, it turns one color, you turn in hot water, it turns another color. Tzeveya. But sometimes you actually have words that come out based on the heat or based on the you know.
Thermometers. Some thermometers work that way.
Thermometers work like that based on the heat.
Strip. You put it
a
on
little
your head.
strip you put it on your head and it comes out of the thing.
Wow.
Right. So the question is that a malach of ksiva. So there's two shaylas for tzeveya and there's for ksiva. So it could be start miskayim, it goes away. It could be start deraisa. That's what shayla was saying, miskayim. The question is that considered a malacha? So lemaisa halacha lemaisa for ksiva or machmer. For ksiva for kosev or machmer. Okay, so even though for tzeveya possibly it's not called tzeveya, I'm not mechaven for it. It doesn't concern me so much. But for ksiva,
if you're going on these glasses that tint themselves in the sunlight, it's nichale. You're in mechaven.
Yeah, you're nichale for that. So Rav Moshe has a tshuva on the glasses, and Rav Moshe writes that you're not tinting it. It's well inside the glass. It just comes out or not. So for tint, that's what I'm saying. For mlachas tzeveya, I'm not coloring it. That's how the glasses work. The sun turns. What?
It's already in.
It's already in there. It's already in there, and it just turns colors because yeah.
You could say that for the thermometer strips. The numbers are already there anyway. They're just exposing.
Right, but for kosev, it could be exposing the letter would be a malach of kosev.
Kosev means what?
Writing. For writing, exposing the letter may be a malach of writing. In other words, I'll just explain this. Last week we discussed if wax falls on a letter.
Right.
Okay, wax falls on a letter and I peel off the wax. Okay, I peel off the wax, so that could be a malach of kosev.
No, it's not. The letter's already there.
No, I have a letter. I have a Sefer Torah. I used to have, we said the wax used to drip because I used to have candlelight. It would drip on the Sefer Torah and I have to peel off the wax. So if wax falls onto the bach holes, that's kosev. Others holes, no, it's just a covering which I take off. The bach holes, that's considered kosev. It's considered writing by peeling off the wax. So they use a kasha. The Achronim use a kasha. Nishma Sodom, another use a kasha.
I'm sorry, by peeling off the wax, so you're exposing the letter that was underneath.
Exposing the letter, yeah.
Probably going to take an imprint of the letter on the wax too.
No, it doesn't take it.
Away the wax.
The wax, you don't take it. The wax falls on the Sefer Torah, you peel off the wax, and you're left with the. You have a problem. You can't learn from the Sefer Torah. The wax dripped on it. So what do? So the Shabbos, could you peel off the wax on Shabbos? This is the gay. Sometimes you're reading a book and you have a tishtush. There's something stuck on the letter. Am I allowed to peel off that thing in order to read the letter? So the Bach says that's a malacha of kaisef, writing.
Right.
So some Achronim, Shvus Yaakov takes issues with it. He says, why is that a malacha of kaisef? And the Nishma Sodom is the kasha. L'chayra, big araya, it's not a malacha of kaisef. Because the halacha is a guy's writing tefillin.
Right.
Tefillin mezuzah, it has to be written considering, in order. It has to be written in order. Right? If you write if a letter got messed up back there, and you already finished your tefillin, you can't just fix that letter. You have to rewrite the whole tefillin from that letter and on. That's why you need to know Yerushalayim who wrote your tefillin, because they'll go back and fix the letter, and your tefillin is possible. Okay? Because you fix your letter back there, it's shaloi kasidron. It has to be written in order.
And the problem is you have the Shem Hashem in the middle, you're stuck.
What?
You have the Shem Hashem in the middle, you're stuck.
Yeah, you can't erase it. They have all kinds of problems. Anyways, you can't erase so much, it looks terrible. So you messed up a word in the beginning, you fix it. So what happens, you're writing a tefillin, and a wax falls on one letter. You're in the middle of your tefillin, and the beginning of the letter Shin of Shema, it's covered by wax. So that if it's considered the letter's bottle and it's out, so then if I peel off the wax, I'm rewriting the letter, so then my whole tefillin should be possible. And my Shemanu Kazeh. Avada my tefillin is kosher. Why? Because the letter's already written, it was just covered, and now I'm exposing it. So they say, so in Shabbos it should be the same thing, that it shouldn't be the malach of ksiva. Exposing the letter shouldn't be a malach of ksiva. So the halacha says you can't compare the two. The halacha says you can't compare the two. The Indian, if it's a letter already, if it's a letter already, and it's written already, and therefore it's considered considering. But Le'inyan Shabbos, exposing the letter is a malach of kaisef. Even though the letter was pre-existing, but exposing the letter is a malach of kaisef. So that's what comes out of Chiddush. So if you the Bachs, Machloikas Achronim, and Halacha L'maisa will machlo like the Bachs, maybe Halacha says, because the other Achronim are like him, and therefore exposing the letter is a problem of kaisef. So that's what we were saying last time. Anytime you expose a letter, maybe with the infrared lights, all these things, exposing the letter possibly could be a malach of kaisef.
Why is that any different if you have a piece of paper on top of it?
Oh, if you have a piece of paper on top of it,
because it's not fixed permanently.
It's not stuck on.
Yeah.
It's not stuck on. It's not mudbak. It's not stuck on. So therefore, you just take it off. But something which is stuck on, which needs to be peeled off, is an issue that's considered. If you have, Rishon says, if you have two pages that are stuck together, and I want to separate it, so now if it's just stuck together on the edge, so that's not considered kaisef if I separate it.
So if you have a wrapper on a bottle...
Hold on, let me just finish this. So if it's stuck with a little bubble gum or something at the edge, and I pull it apart, that's fine. But if it's stuck on a letter, and then I pull it apart, it may be a shiloh of kaisef.
And well, Malcolm the Putt is separating the pages.
What?
Malcolm the Putt is
There's no shiloh separating the pages.
Okay,
So there's a bubble gum, so
if you have a wrapper on a bottle cap, and the bottle cap has letters on it, does that mean you can't take that wrapper off?
No, we discussed the wrapper. Ripping the letters you're talking about?
No. Under the cap, under the wrapper.
You're exposing the letters on the
underneath.
cap. Wow.
Letters underneath.
You
have the bottle cap?
On the inside of the cap.
On the cap.
You have writing on the inside of the cap. You take the cap off, you turn it over, and this is writing.
No, that's not what he's saying.
No, you have a cap that has writing on it, but
on the outside.
wrapper
covered
on the cap.
Yes.
And I'm taking it off.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no writing on the wrapper.
It's not stuck on. It's not stuck on over there.
No.
It's not stuck on over there.
No.
It's stuck on around the side. It's not stuck on over there.
A
case would be, they have all these lotteries. You scratch it and then the letter comes out, right? You scratch it and it comes out the letter.
Right.
That would be a shiloh, exposing the letter. That would be a problem. Scratch and win. I don't know. Scratch it out. Get your PIN number for your credit card. You scratch it. That's the shiloh of kaisef. So exposing the letter would be kaisef. How do we get to this? What were we discussing before?
Taking
Wax
off the letter.
Pulling it off and exposing the letter.
The tinted glass.
Oh, the glasses, yeah. So the thermometer thing is the same thing. I'm exposing letters I'm exposing letters based on, so even though for even though for Soiveya, it could be its mutter. Exposing color, excuse me, it's not Soiveya. It's there already. That could be not Soiveya.
That's just for color.
That's for the Malach of Soiveya. But for the Malach of Kaisef, for writing, exposing a letter could be a Malach of Kaisef.
So if it's a colored thermometer, that's not an issue then.
It could be. It's not, it could be. It wouldn't be an issue. Color maybe
What
it's
about
Moshe,
a
I don't know.
picture?
What?
What about a picture?
A picture could be Kaisef, yeah. So there's two different malachos. So that's the thing. Now, interessant that Mishnah Berurah says over there. It's just by this wax that covers the letter. That if it happened on Shabbos, so what do? You have a letter covered on the Sefer Torah. So what do? So take out a new Sefer Torah. But the Sefer Torah is kosher. You don't take out a new Sefer Torah when the Sefer Torah is kosher. If it's possible, then you can put it away, take out a new one. You have a kosher Sefer Torah, but you can't read it. There's something stuck on top. And you can't peel it off, because you have the Bach. So what do?
You get a cotton.
So the Mishnah, you can't read it, the letter's covered.
But if a cotton pulls it out?
No, you don't get a cotton, pull it off, but we just read it Baal Peh.
Okay.
Because the Gav Machlokes, if you read one letter Baal Peh, it's just called Korah Baal Peh. So the Mishnah holds, you read it Baal Peh. You read that letter Baal Peh.
But if it's a few letters,
What?
if it's a few letters, a big blah blah.
Where's the cutoff, basically?
Like if the whole word.
One letter, a whole word is a problem, maybe. A whole word could be a problem. But a letter is not a problem. By the way, we read the Megillah, they read over Ishla Amid Bifnehem, Ishla Amid Lifnehem. So Hagam, that it's a question how it's written. So why do we read it? It's one letter, so we're not machmer. It's one letter.
Every Kriya Ksiv.
It's not a Kriya Ksiv. It's a question how it's written. It's not a Kriya Ksiv.
Okay,
It's
well,
a Kriya Ksiv, you're right. We know how it's written. But if we don't know how it's written, Shlomo wants to say that, like the Goyin doesn't hold it as heter. If it's written wrong, it could be possible one letter, then you have a problem. But upon it's not a Kriya, right? Kriya Ksiv, then we know how it's written, but it's not a Kriya Ksiv. There's two ways to write it.
Sounds like Matar Megillah.
Yeah, it's Shiloh. Oh. Now this, by the way, is a problem. A lot of times something spills. You have something spills on the paper and you want to wipe it off. So what's the heter? According to the Bach, I'm exposing the letter, it will be a malacha of kaisiv. So the place can want to say if it's something which never absorbed into the thing, it's not stuck on, you can just wipe it off, that's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Or if you can still see the letter.
You can still see the letter, it's also not a problem. Yeah. It's not a problem. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the malacha of moichik. Although we discussed a lot of it while we were discussing Kaisiv, but there are a few points which we didn't get to. So Malach of Moichik is to erase Almanas Lichtav Shtei Yosis. Just like the Malach of Kaisiv is to write two letters, the Malach of Moichik is to erase in order to write two letters. So that means like this. That to erase, you don't have to erase two letters. You have to erase enough space to write two letters. If you have a big letter which you're going to write two smaller letters on, that could be erasing on the space. Even if it's not a letter, even if it's just a smudge of ink that's covering two spaces, and I erase it in order to write two letters, that's a malacha of moichik almanas lichtav. You don't have to erase letters. You could either erase letters, or even if you erase anything which allows you to write letters, that's a malacha of moichik almanas lichtav. Now the Mishnah Berurah says it doesn't have to be almanas lichtav. It can be for any tayeles. It could also be a shaila. It's a shaila. In other words, let's say a letter was written. You wrote an extra letter or two in your thing you wrote in your star, and you erase it because it doesn't belong there. That's also could be chayiv. It's machlokes if it's a deraisa or not. It's a tikkun because you don't want that letter there, but you're not writing anything. You're just erasing. You're not almanas to write. But mice it's awesome. The question is to erase with Rabbanan, they are erasing, even though I'm not doing a Almanas Lichtav. But the bloch is to erase Almanas Lichtav. Now, I just pointed out a few things here. We mentioned that the Gemara says that if you erase the gag of the ches, right? A ches in the Sefer Torah is written on two zayins. Two zayins, and then there's a little roof that attaches the two zayins together. That's how the ches looks. It's Arizal, so it's a vav and a zayin with a little roof that connects it. So if you erase that little roof, you're left with a Zion and a Zion, 2 Zions. So the Gemara says that's a malacha d'oraisa of kaisef. You erase a little bit, and you're actually writing. You're actually writing 2 letters.
It's simultaneously created too.
Right. Even though it's not kosher for the Sefer Torah, so I don't know if that's the issue. That's the Rana, the Rashba, but I'm writing. So that's considered. That's actually considered writing. That's not considered moichik. That's writing. That's a block of writing. Sometimes through erasing, you're writing. Sometimes through erasing, you're erasing. So the Gemara says if you erase the back of a dalet and you make it into a resh, you need a resh and it's written as a dalet. So you erase the back and you make it into a resh. That's kaisiv, you're writing. So I'll show you the question is, it's 1 letter, why you chayiv? It's not 2 letters.
Right.
Now the halacha is if you write a letter at the end of a Sefer Torah, you chayiv. You're finishing off the Sefer Torah with it, you chayiv. You fix the whole Sefer Torah becomes finished that letter, you chayiv for kaisiv. So if you erased, if you're finishing off the whole Sefer Torah is kosher except for this dalet, resh that looks like a dalet, you fix it up and you make it look like a resh, you chayiv for ksiva. The problem is the Sefer Torah is not kosher because it's chaptuches. This is the problem. You erase it, you're not making the Sefer Torah kosher, but it's in any case, you could erase in order to write. Sometimes you could erase your chayiv for actually erasing. Now, okay. So that's the block of kaisef. So the question is, what is this referring to? Most of us are not writing on Shabbos on paper. We're not writing on Shabbos on things. But there are a lot of things which are considered places where you could write. For example, the scribble on the wall. The kid, it happens to be all the time. The kid goes in, takes his crayons, his magic markers, and colors on the wall. The scribble, scrabble. So I want to erase it. So could you wash it off on Shabbos? So the halacha is the wall is considered a makam ksiva. Today most people don't write on the wall, but in the old days they wrote on the wall. You need to write on something. They didn't have paper. They didn't have paper coming out of their ears. They wrote on tablets. They wrote on walls. And they wrote on tabletops. Your tabletop. They scribbled over your tabletop. You want to erase it. So there's a shaila, deraisa shaila of being moichik. Because you're erasing this again. You don't have to erase letters. You're erasing a space of ink where you could write 2 letters. So if I'm erasing on my wall or I'm erasing on my table, you get into a shaila of erasing. Even though I don't plan on writing on my table or on my wall today, we don't normally do that. I don't plan on writing there, but there's a shaila of moichik because I'm being moichik at a place. It's a tikkun because I want to clean, and there's a shaila of a deraisa, maybe possibly to abanon of moichik on the wall. On the thing, I don't have to erase a letter. I can even erase space, which would allow for the letters to be written.
Who decides how much space you have to write
for
2 letters? Because you get someone who's a very fine...
You can write 2 tiny letters.
Tiny letters. So where does it end?
Yeah,
what are the parameters?
A good question. On a paper, more or less, you could know, but yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure.
But like if you're walking and you trip and spill coffee on the wall, so you clean the wall.
Oh, so how far does this go? I'm not allowed to clean the tabletop. My wife will chase me out of the house. You can't wipe anything off. Yeah. So yeah.
In terms of how dark the color is, I mean, let's say the kid colors with black crayon, so you couldn't write anything on top. But let's say they colored with yellow crayon.
You can still write on top.
You could have written on top.
Right.
So
Yeah.
but you
still are, because you don't want to write. If you want to write something, you want to write it on you want it to be clean. It'll still be moichik, even if you could write it. So it could be. It would depend if it's absorbed in. In other words, if it's just on top. If it's just on top, there's nothing written underneath. So shmutz, so I could wipe it off. Even though we said that peeling the wax off is a problem of moichik. That's if there's a letter underneath. So it's actually moichik and kaisiv. So there's letters underneath. But if there's nothing underneath there, it's just sitting on top, and I just want to wash it off. It could be if it would be a letter, it would be us. In other words, if there would be some shmutz on top that's a letter, writing, I started to doodle with his ketchup and make a nice picture on my kitchen table, so that would be a shaila of mechika. But if it's not a letter, it's just dirt, and I want to wipe it off, and it's not absorbed in, it's not like a marker which is on the table, it's marked on, I have to scrub real hard to get it off, so that could be would be mutter. Something much harder in is a good shaila. At what point do I say it's mutter or not? So the olam is machmir if it's something which is a letter or something that you shouldn't erase. If it's something that's not a letter, just schmutz. So if it's a side schmutz, so there's room to be mekel. It's not really. Even though it's mudbak, even though it's stuck on, but it's not absorbed in, it's not really considered a writing, but otherwise it will be an issue. Child like this, the Chayolim says, in Hilchos Netilas Yadayim, a Chiddush Neuer, Chayolim says, the Gemara is clear that people used to write on their hands also. Write on the hands, you write a get, you write a get, al yada eved. You can write on a person's skin is considered a place to write. People make tattoos, you can write on a person's skin. So the shaila would be, I have marks on my hands and I want to wash it off. Can I wash my hands on Shabbos to get it off? Chayyadim's talking about Hilchos Netilas Yadayim, where I want to wash my hands and I have a chatzitza, I have something on my hands and I want to wash it off. Am I allowed to get it off? Am I allowed to get it off on Shabbos? Am I allowed to wash it Netilas Yadayim? By washing Netilas Yadayim, I'm washing off, I'm being moichik. He holds it's a real problem. He holds it's the Chayyim Paskins that if you have any on your hand, you can't wash in Netilas Yadayim. So the Paiskim Matzmiya.
How do you eat?
Yeah. So Lamaisa, again, they want to be mekel if it's not a word that's written. If it's not a word that's written or a picture. Sometimes you get a stamp. You know, you go to some museum, somewhere, stamp your hand. So that's a picture. That you can't erase. You can't erase that Shabbos. If it comes off the washing, if by washing Netilas Yadayim it's going to come off, you have a problem. Could be it's not a chatzitza because it's not a moshes on it. If they're going to wash it off, it's a shayla mechika because on your hand is a makam lichtav. But the Chayonim is saying any mark on your hand, just like on a piece of paper, even if there's a smudge, you can't erase it if there's a makam lichtav shtei oisias. So any mark on your hand, you shouldn't be allowed to erase. It should be like a table on your wall where you can't erase because you want to write two letters. I said oilam is mekel on it because today is not the derech b'chlal to write on your hand. And therefore, at least if it's just schmutz, one would be able to wash it off in order to think. But if it's someone to say if it's actually ink on your hand, if it's ink on your hand, maybe that's worse. Maybe one should be machmer. But there's room to make as long as it's not a picture of a hand. But this is a serious shaila because midaraisa is mavur that if you write letters on your hand, if you write a letter on your hand, that's moichik. That's kaisiv, and if you erase it, it's moichik.
So if you had a stamp on your hand, you attended something, you had the stamp a couple of days ago, you're washing it, you see every day it fades away a little bit more. But when you on Shabbos, if you washed it, it wouldn't come off, but it might fade a little more.
Yeah, it's a shayla. If it's not coming off, it's just fading. I saw they bring that as a shayla. It could be you're not mechaven for it to fade. You're just washing your hands. Not mechaven
and you're not trying to take it off.
So that wouldn't be a problem. You're actually taking it off. L'kula, that's mamash moichet. But if it's just fading a little bit, it's not so clear that it's fading and it's over time.
Book or safer in the letters transferred to your hand.
You have a letter on your hand, yeah.
That's
you have a letter on your hand, now you're erasing it.
By the ksiva, when we were talking about ksiva in the Mishkan, we were talking about the boards in order to match boards.
Right. Oh, where was Mechika in the Mishkan? Here's a question. Where was Mechika in the Mishkan? So the ksiva was on the boards to match the boards. So Mechika would be to fix it. If you had
made a mistake.
I made a mistake. All we said ksiva was the accountant would write different things. So then Mechika would be if you had to make any corrections. That would be Mechika. I want to point out here that there's no mechika on tzivei. Mechika is only on ksiva. So if a person painted a wall red and then he erased it, tzivei there's no malach of mechika. The mechika is only because you could write on the wall. So something which is a place where Chazal considered a place where you write, and then you erase that area, that could be considered in order to write, and that would be problem mechika. But if it's not a writing place, it's not something which you write on, just because it's a thing. So Shal would be a woman wants to take off her makeup on Shabbos. Okay? There's makeup on her face. She wants to wash it off. So Soiveya, there's no problem of mechika. You can wash it off. The Shaila is als koisef. So the place can say also, not like the Chayyad that since it's not normal, people don't write on the face, they just do Tzeveya, so that wouldn't be considered mechika. I'm not something to write on. Even though on the hand, people do write on. So that's the Shalach Hayodim. But, okay, we'll make it just on a mark, like we're saying, but on the face, it would be a shiloh. The problem is the Rambam says that kecheles is putting puts a blue line or eyeliner as kecheles. The Rambam says that's a malach of kaisev. The Rambam says malach of kaisev. All the Paisim bring that's a malach of tzeveya. So the Shulchan Aruch is not brought to Rambam. They pass this tzeveya. But if you hold like the Rambam that it's kaisev, then a rasing it will be moichik. So take off the eyeliner, the Rambam will be a malach of moichik. According to the other Poskim Rishonim, it's Tzeveya, which you could, there's no problem with racing Tzeveya, there's no Malach of Moichik. Moichik is only on Ksiva. So according to the Rambam, eyeliner, taking that off, there's a room to be Machmer, if you want to hold like the Rambam, to take off the eyeliner on Shabbos could be a problem. But
what's this have in it that it would be writing?
Why is it writing? Because they make a line. They even have pencils. They do it with pencils today sometimes. They do pencils right around.
You can color with a pencil, not always writing.
Right. But that's what Rambam says that it's kaisef. You want to make a specific line. You don't want to just make a making a specific place where it is. He holds that as kaisef. The point Shulchan Aruch they don't bring it. Shulchan Aruch they bring not like the Rambam. They bring that as tzeveya. So on tzeveya there's no issue of moichik. You could erase it, as long as it's not a place where you would further write on. But some place where you would further write on, that would be a problem. That's the more
what you were saying before, let's say someone has a birthday cake with these chocolate things, and it falls upside down, so when you pick it up, it leaves the letters on the table, so you cannot clean the table.
Erasing the letter,
Not only that, if it's sticky, you lift it up.
The place you bring a shiloh on your shoe or on your boot, you have words on the bottom.
Oh wow!
And then you step in the snow or the mud, and you're making a letter over there.
Interesting.
Lemaisa there, it's they don't care about it. So it's not a problem. The child's to erase your letter. If you wash the floor now, you have it says there's a letter, words written on the thing, and then you want to erase it. You might have
so if you have those letters in the bottom of your shoe, you're walking on Shabbos, or...
That's what I'm saying. You're walking on Shabbos, so you're not mechaven for that at all. But the Shabbos, he's saying, to erase the letters after they're printed on something, that's a good Shabbos. Shabbos, because the letters are really inside out. It goes on. Maybe it's not considered,
they're inverted,
maybe that's not considered a letter. Maybe it's not considered a letter, it's inside out, so nobody reads it like that.
Yeah, but some letters are not like A.
A won't make a difference.
H-I-O.
Those letters might not make a difference. Okay, I think that wraps up the Malach Ksiva.